Danganronpa.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. Then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, then. Let's talk about the murder weapon!
The killer used a blunt instrument. What kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe. No, it's wrong! Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood. And there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yes! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already—
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack. Culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
No, that's wrong! I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file. While I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kinda weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every genocide. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of food lust.
Bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic.
Never made public? What?
Why don't you?
Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro is most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack?
Yes. In fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa. Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle.
Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file, too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is
perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
I got it! You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual.
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke...
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely...
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly, in other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can't.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room,
reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How?
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise,
my promise. That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that, but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it. But
your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person? You don't...
Hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see? What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
What happened?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split person. One of them happens to be a serial killer. You should turn a blind eye to one's fault. Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back view, just like how every inning has a top and a bottom. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives...
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind.
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind. Just kidding.
Then it's not true.
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid! And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are, they just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself.
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about genocide. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undone, so she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very sorry. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the... But I cannot imagine. And maybe so, but never...
Do you really expect any of us to...
Yeah. I could never...
This incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need? Give it up. You killed her.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that. Do you really expect any of us?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would... Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi... No, it's wrong!
Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I think there's a slight difference between the genocide...
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. And there it was what happened to Chihiro. Would it be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee?
Rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases I got it! For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Yes, that is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto!
Can you please stop comparing killing people to good?
Are you saying the other different?
Remember what the killer used? They used some kind of...
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous... Specifically, pairs of...
And guess what? I use my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement. Like I said, I'm a professional. So naturally, I'm very picky about the tools. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac?
Listen up, Big Mac! There's...
Huh?
My word, you really didn't know there's a pattern there! Just wait! I'll figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little...
I got it! Is it because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in...
They were all...
That's right! The people I killed with such passion and conviction! They're all adorable little... I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl! And the movie side of me just hates it! But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid! I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line! That's the absolute reality of a one and only!
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. It's a different matter entirely. When you're...
Quiet, lollipop!
Slowly...
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere and if by some fluke I did kill to why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect.
That does make...
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my... Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors.
Any scissors? Don't just use any scissors! I always use my own set of...
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the...
Are you sure about... She's fully equipped! That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime! Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! Yes, can you, gutter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot! So rope's probably out of the question anyway!
I have no idea what's going on anymore! It's such a heinous...
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the...
Yeah! That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, not some copycat killer.
Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out. You'd have no problem gaining access to Classic Plus. You'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, you rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like the adorable glasses man was behind it all?
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious?
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before... You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right?
I should have naturally thought of the boy the victim was Chihiro, a girl.
Hence what nothing's strange about that.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class. The victim was Chihiro.
No, that's wrong. I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim... So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim...
I see. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. But what's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more. What's the matter? You're not...
There is.
There is more to it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack, and the proof you're looking for is hidden.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit.
Then there must be something fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen a rope before.
No, it's wrong! Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope? That extension cord?
What? An extension?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do...
Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord.
That's really what you think? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody... I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
Oh yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's...
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
Kept calling this a game, right? So he...
Sorry, but I think it worked.
You really need...
I know, but there's something that's still...
That's right. I killed her in the girl. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicide. What about all that bothers you?
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? She was found dead in the girl. How could the scene of the crime have...
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was along with the rest of the murder scene.
Rest of the murder scene? That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for...
I believe I do.
Hey! Don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took...
Proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each... More proof? The poster in the girls' locker room, a picture of a big boobed supermodel. Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like...
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band. Again, that doesn't really...
So you're saying that maybe...
And there's one other thing you know what I'm talking about.
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee, but I noticed that after the murder...
The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpet? But why would anyone...
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It certainly can't. In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but... Why? Huh? Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the sanctuary? And even bigger than how did Chihiro get in the body? To get into the locker room, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device that Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way! And I can tell you what it...
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have...
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What the...
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, it's wrong!
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Last, isn't there a regulation against using...
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook.
Hit the nail square on the noggin.
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make us so then.
She must have hacked hers, like I said.
You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring.
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is...
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the...
Okay then, I vote for...
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the... You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that... Why don't... Take a little...
Wait.
Don't worry.
Huh? Well, all right then. I declare... Now then, what is it you want to...
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations.